and we'll get started. So welcome to the webinar where we'll explore the ingo-man as the most trusted hand hygiene solution in German hospitals and how invaluable it's become during this pandemic. So my name is Joel OPHARDT. I'm the marketing manager for OPHARDT Hygiene. I'm currently social distancing from my home here in Germany, as a few of my colleagues here are, and we'll try to work around any unexpected interruptions as best as we can. So looking at the agenda today, we'll have a brief introduction to the company itself, followed by a dive into the supply security issues that are resolved by the ingo-man, and then I'll hand over to my Irish colleague, Pádraig McDonough. You can see on the left side of your screen, he's a seasoned OPHART engineering veteran and current product manager of the ingo-man series. And he'll explain how unique and reliable and flexible the ingo-man series is. And after that, I'll hand over the presentation to our medical director, Dr. Andreas Gluckner. Dr. Gluckner joined us in 2017 after spending decades using our dispensers in an intensive care setting at his clinic in Greifswald, Germany. Before joining us, he was also able to use our IoT-enabled dispensers, where he was able to improve compliance and reduce infections with that technology. At the very end, we'll finish with a question and answer session. So if you have any questions, please type them into the comment section at any point in time, and we'll get to them at the end. If you're having any trouble finding the comment box, just press the orange arrow at the top of your webinar toolbar, and it should expand, revealing the comment section near the bottom. If that doesn't work, just email us, and we'll answer your question after the webinar. Great. So just a little background to who OPHART is. Founded in 1962 by Hermann OPHART in his garage just outside of Issum, Germany. He was a consulting engineer working in the hygiene sector. The company expanded from there to produce in Belgium, Ireland, Canada, Switzerland, the Philippines, and then most recently in Armenia. More than 10% of our 600 employees are involved in engineering. We feel that's why we have such a strong competitive edge in the market. All of our products are rooted in strong customer-focused innovation. And that's why we've been able to develop out a very respected portfolio of more than 1,000 products with more than 400 dispensing related patents. So more philosophically, it's important to know that we see ourselves as a hardware and software hygiene solution provider. Anything that falls into that category we make. We do not make soaps or sanitizers. In fact, we most often work with those companies to provide them with standard or custom dispensing solutions. And everything we do is centered around our mission to break the chain of infection. Each product is designed with that idea in mind, and that's what also motivates us during this pandemic. And our ultimate long-term goal is to provide universal access to life-saving hygiene solutions around the world so that everyone is actually able to prevent infections wherever they might be. So the current situation, everyone here and most of the people around the globe are hyper aware of what is going on with the current coronavirus pandemic. Obviously, the most recent stats are somewhere around 2 million confirmed infections and over 125,000 related deaths. But the critical issues are, of course, that there's no vaccination available yet, and there's no viable treatment yet. And that makes prevention critical. And hand hygiene, as touted by the World Health Organization, by the CDC, by the Robert Koch Institute, by institutions around the world, hand hygiene is seen as a critical pillar in that infection prevention program. And of course, that has presented other problems, especially in the healthcare setting. We've seen worldwide shortage of alcohol. We've seen a lack of flexible hygiene infrastructure. We've seen missing compliance measures, and that, of course, leads to more infections and more deaths. So when looking at a dispenser system, a complete dispenser system, there's really 4 categories that we'd like to look at that we think are important in making a decision for which program to go with. And we think that supply security for healthcare institutions is very important, that there's a dispenser program that's designed to be flexible to their needs to help them overcome some of those supply issues. Then reliability. We think that a system that is dependable in every single situation, that's easy to maintain, because in these situations, if you're coming up to a dispenser and it doesn't work in that scenario, that's the absolute worst thing that can happen in a healthcare setting. We want to make sure that people are able to realize the 5 moments of hand hygiene whenever possible, because if they can't disinfect their hands in that scenario, again, that can lead to a possible infection and a negative outcome. And then we really need the infrastructure to be flexible, to be designed to work around the workflows of healthcare institutions and the various different setups that we see with the different types of clinics that are out there. And so we really need the dispensing systems to be set up to work with those workflows, to be set up wherever the opportunities for hand hygiene arrive, and to drive up compliance, which is the last point, by actually attracting users to them and bringing attention to how important hand hygiene really is. And that's the 4th component of dispensers and hand hygiene. So for the first point, supply security, I'll take you through that point myself. This goes back to the origins of the ingoman. So in the 1960s, we have mass introduction of alcohol-based hand rubs in healthcare. Of course, alcohol-based hand rubs were available before, but really in the 60s, we see that companies are starting to provide larger quantities of these, also with moisturizers in them, so you can use them more regularly. And that's really where the story about OPHART starts, when a company approached OPHART about a solution where they had a dispenser that was based on soap. The seals weren't strong enough to hold sanitizer in them in hospitals, and the ingoman was born with upward dispensing, extreme reliability, a hygienic lever, and autoclavability, so the dispensers could be put in an oven and sterilized. So that really took off. It was a game changer in the market. And then the next critical moment is kind of in 1973, when Herman sits down with Professor Franz Daschner of the Freiburg University in Germany, and is confronted with this rising problem of exclusivity from these many different systems in the market, where he feels that universities or hospitals really need to have a more flexible solution where they can use different solutions that are optimized for certain scenarios, and that gives them a little bit more security. And so they brought that into the market, and due to the popularity of the dispenser in the German market, all the manufacturers adopted the standard and delivered into the ingoman. And so this series has iteratively improved and expanded over 50 years to maintain its position as the most popular healthcare dispenser in Germany and many of its surrounding countries. So just diving a little bit deeper into the Eurobottle, the standardization of the Eurobottle is what creates flexibility. The Eurobottle itself is kind of a loose term, but really it just the definition really is a bottle that fits into the ingoman. Now, there's other producers out there of dispensers capable of carrying the Eurobottle. That's fine, but really it starts with that concept, and the really great advantages to healthcare providers are obviously cost optimization because of the increased competition. But really what we see during COVID-19, we saw multiple examples of this, is that it creates security during potential supply bottlenecks. So when your manufacturer for your preferred manufacturer for hand hygiene sanitizer encounters a bottleneck in production because the orders are so high during COVID-19, you're able to switch quickly, find another supplier, or in many cases, we were actually supplying bottles to healthcare institutions as they found ways to make alcohol themselves until they could go back to their normal supplier. So that was really critical so far during the COVID-19 pandemic. And then the other advantage that healthcare institutions really like is that they can run a few different products in parallel in their institutions that they use to target specific pathogens or based on user preferences. So that sounds like there's a lot of advantages for healthcare institutions themselves. But of course, the other side of this that we've seen in Germany is that the best competitors out there, the ones with the best brands, actually have full access to the entire market. And so really, even when others are out there putting up Eurobottle systems, if you have the best product out there, you have the best marketing, you can really push your system throughout an entire geographic area where Eurobottle systems are set up. And so you can get in and out of different institutions very quickly. So the last cornerstone of the Eurobottle, of course, is that it's integrated now into many hygiene guidelines like the CRINCO and DGKH, which are really important in Germany. So kind of a condensed historical look at the development of the ingoman. You have the first dispenser in 1967, and then you have the introduction of the Eurobottle in 1973. And then in 2006, things get a little bit more interesting because we have the introduction of the patented front removal of the pump, which makes maintenance of the pump much easier. They can be sterilized very easily. And then touchless dispensers really start picking up in 2007, various iterations of that. Then we introduced our first IoT connected device in 2011. That was actually a patented technology where users also don't have to worry about battery exchanges. The power to transmit data is generated by activating the lever. And these things have been hanging on the wall since 2011 without problems, collecting data for nearly 10 years now. And of course, giving feedback to healthcare professionals on their hand hygiene performance. And then around 2018, we got into disposable systems because hygiene regulations got so much stricter. For a lot of healthcare institutions, it's a lot easier, rather than documenting the cleaning of their dispensers, to work with hygienic packaging. That also includes complete packaging, or what you see here is a single-use pump that works with the Eurobottle. And then in 2020, we rounded out that digitalization story with the ingoman Smart Nose, which basically replaces those plastic kind of face shields or noses that you see with a digital version that measures use. Obviously, there's a lot more to this series, and Porg will get into that in a second. So in summary, for supply security, the ingoman pioneered the Eurobottle standard, and this open format is really something that gives healthcare providers the security that even during times of pandemics, they're able to get the alcohol-based hand rubs that they need for their infection prevention programs. So with that, I'll turn it over to Porg to talk about reliability and flexible infrastructure that the ingoman offers.
Thanks, Joel, and welcome everybody. So as Joel said, I'm going to deal with the next two topics here. That's reliability and flexible infrastructure. Starting with reliability, I don't think the importance of it can be overestimated. We know that hand disinfection is considered the most important tool for infection prevention in hospitals, clinics, and indeed awareness of it amongst the general public has increased dramatically with COVID-19. And with that in mind, despite that the dispensers that we use to deliver our soaps and disinfectants work first time and work every time. I think two of the things that have probably distinguished our products over the years have been reliability and innovation. And in the next slides, I'm going to introduce some key points of the product range, some of its features, and so on, and explain something in a little bit of detail. So OPHARDT produce both manual and touchless dispensers. And on the left side of the screen there, you see our manual dispenser range, 0.5 litre and 1 litre. The same for our touchless dispensers, also available in both 0.5 litre and 1 litre dispensers. Each of those dispensers is available with either an anodized aluminium, I should point out, rather than a standard unanodized version, which is sometimes available in such products. That gives the service it's more resistant to bacteria, it's more hard wearing, it doesn't scratch as easily, and so on. But each dispenser is available with an anodized aluminium cover or stainless steel, or indeed in a choice of powder coated with high visibility colors. I think Dr. Goffner is going to discuss the relevance of those later in the presentation. So moving on to the next slide, we've listed some features of the ingo-man. The first one you see there, I think Joel has explained it already in some detail earlier, and that's the compatibility with the 500 milliliter or the 1000 milliliter Eurobottle, the half liter and the 1 liter. So all products in the range can dispense soaps, disinfectants, and lotions, very importantly, with the same pump. We have a variety of pumps available. I'm going to talk about those a little bit later and the reasons maybe why you might choose one rather than the other or whatever. But our standardized pump, or our standard pump, be it steel or plastic, is capable of dispensing alcohol or lotion or disinfectant with equal ease. It's important that pumps can be cleaned effectively and easily, and that's possible in the ingo-man range through the patented front removal that again Joel mentioned earlier there. So simply by lifting the face shield, the user can remove the bottle from the front of it, simply a bottle exchange, or with the thumb tab in the front of the dispenser, remove the pump. So that makes access to the pump and therefore cleaning, be it dishwasher, sterilization, or simply flushing through in your sink, as easy as possible to carry out. It's also very important, and when we look at our pump range later, we'll talk about, and Joel already mentioned, our DHP, our disposable hygiene pump, and our some packaging solutions we're going to talk about earlier. Is mentioned there. All of those need to be removed after each bottle use. So again, the patented removal from the front makes that as easy as possible. As I just said, the pumps are either dishwasher proof if they're the plastic pump, or in the case of the steel pump, autoclavable at 134 degrees C. Our manual dispensers come with a long or a short lever, so either for hand or for elbow operation. And uniquely, our touch dispenser comes with an emergency lever that allows the dispenser to be operated even in the event of a power failure or dead batteries. I should point out at this point that when the dispenser is battery powered, it does give very adequate warning to the user of low battery and so on. So this is not just a sudden case that in the morning you find you've got low batteries. That's untrue. For an extended period of time, the dispenser does signal low batteries, but sometimes for whatever reason, these are not exchanged. And the emergency lever means that the dispenser is always there and ready for use, which is critical when it's used in places like hospital theatres, intensive care areas, and so on. Speaking about the emergency lever, we've actually got two versions of it. The version that you see in the picture on the left-hand side of your screen is what we call a retractable lever. So it's conceived, it's not easily visible, or it's not obtrusive. We have another version which is permanently mounted on top of the dispenser, more easily accessible, and again, certain customers prefer one rather than the other for their various infrastructure. Our dispensers come with a 5-year warranty. We spoke about reliability, and I think the fact that we provide them with a 5-year warranty emphasizes our confidence in the product. That we have a full range of additional accessories and bracket systems available. I'll go into that in more detail shortly, but just a few other things that aren't on the list because it's quite extensive in terms of the features that we provide on the dispensers. All our dispensers can have multicolored printed logos or text applied to them as specified by the customer. Our manual units actually have interchangeable clips in the face shield or the nose, and some customers purchase more than one of these dispensers. So, for example, they may have purchased some that would say soap or some lotion or some, say, disinfectant, so they can change them from time to time as the media they dispense with the dispenser changes, so that people are aware of what they're actually dispensing on to their hands. Both our manual and touch dispensers can also be supplied with integrated counters. So it's a very cost-effective way of monitoring the usage of the dispenser. Our touchless units are available both in mains and battery operated models, and the mains version of the dispenser, it's a low voltage power supply, so extremely safe and can be connected either at the rear or the bottom of the unit. Again, the touchless dispensers offer options in terms of how they can be configured for operations. So the dispenser can either make single or multiple strokes, and it can be configured to be operated either one-handed or two-handed. Some customers prefer a two-handed version where a hand must be placed over the dispenser and away from it before the hand underneath receives the liquid. So it's just an added security to prevent unintended activation. Just one interesting thing in relation to the to our touchless dispensers, and if we move to the next slide, actually, just in conjunction with this, we look at the pumps that we've got there. In our touchless dispenser, again, it can accommodate a steel or a plastic pump, but our pumps, as we've said, are autoclavable and dishwasher safe, but they also include integrated dosage adjustment. So the drive unit in our touchless pump is actually a direct precision screw drive rather than the ferrous type gear wheel mechanism you see in a lot of products. And what's unique about that is it means if you adjust the dosage on your dispenser from anything from, let's say, 0.7 to 1.5 millimeters on the pump, if you adjust the dosage of that pump, then when the pump is reinstalled in the dispenser will automatically sense the position of the dosage adjuster and calibrate its stroke accordingly. So when we combine the variation in the number of strokes that the dispenser can be programmed to make and the number of dosage adjustments available, we give the user huge flexibility in terms of the volumes of media that are being dispensed there. So yeah, steel pumps, plastic pumps. We do three different types of steel pumps. By far the most common is the one you see in your picture there. That's our 24 series pump. We do two other pumps. One is for really heavy duty liquid, I would say close to paste would be the best description of it. And another one is a dispenser, it's a pump that's designed for bottles which are challenging to fit in the dispenser because of their neck geometry and so on. So bottles that maybe aren't Eurobottle compatible, but they will still fit in our dispensers, but the pump needs to be quite flexible to accommodate their placement. The pump you see on the screen there, that will dispense alcohol, soap, lotion with equal effectiveness, and is, I would say, the pump that we will sell in 90% of our dispensers that take steel pumps. It will be that particular one. Moving away from permanent pumps, we have our DHP, or our disposable hygiene pump. And again, Joel mentioned that earlier on. So that's a pump, it's fully recyclable. It's been independently certified as such. There's no reprocessing necessary because the pump will work for one use and one use only. So we have a patented break-off system on the pump whereby if somebody attempts to reuse that product, the pump becomes dismembered and it won't work again. And just below that, we talk about the Euro pack and the Euro pouch. Again, a disposable single-use system, but this time the pump is permanently affixed to the package or to the pouch. So the package is emptied to approximately 3%, less than 3% typically of liquid remaining in the bottle, and then it's disposed of and recycled. So again, very, very hygienic, meets the highest standards there, and it's a very compact unit, as I think you can see from the picture. So before I go on to discuss some of the infrastructure that integrates directly into the ingo-man dispensers, I'd like to show you some of the other products in the range, because as the caption says on our screen, we are more than just a dispenser. We've got things like paper towel dispensers, hygienic waste bins, wall bracket systems, and so on. All of these are built to the same high standards as the dispensers, and we believe it makes OPHART your one-stop shop for hygiene equipment. I should just say in relation to the manufacturing side of our dispensers, the anodized aluminium that we use, the stainless steel that we use, all the materials in our pumps, all the injection moldings, all of those are made within the OPHART plant. our plants. So, for example, in Ireland, we would do a lot of our stainless steel pump components internally. Some components we would buy our stainless steel components from Germany and so on. Our plant in Belgium anodizes all our own aluminium shrouds. We machine those shrouds in Belgium. We machine our stainless steel shrouds in Germany. All our moldings are produced on site, and we even build much of our own tooling ourselves. So we are very, very self-sufficient in that regard. And that's actually, when we spoke earlier about supply security, I think that self-sufficiency makes us very secure in terms of dispenser manufacture, which is also critical, of course, when customers are looking for products at the rate it's happening at the moment. So I think if we summarize reliability, what are we saying about the ingo-man dispenser? As I said earlier, it operates first time, it operates every time. There are dispensers which have been on the wall for 20 plus years. So the 5-year warranty that we provide is not really any challenge to us with them. We use long-lasting, robust materials, anodized aluminium, stainless steels, and so on, to meet the highest reprocessing standards. So sterilized to 134 or dishwasher safe. For those people who don't have either the infrastructure or the time to do that, we have disposable solutions in terms of our DHP pump and our hygiene package. And the quick front removal for reprocessing or exchange of those makes the system makes it very user friendly and encourages actually those cleaning operations that we've spoken about earlier. Okay, so moving on to flexible infrastructure. Excuse me. OPHARDT has a wide range of mounting solutions and accessories for the ingo-man, but the underlying principle, I suppose, behind all our stands and mounting solutions is to make the dispensers available and ready to use when and where they're needed. You know, we're all familiar with the 5 moments of hand hygiene, and to enable healthcare professionals to comply with those, they need to have products when and where they want them ready to use, securely mounted and fixed. And the cornerstone of all our mounting solutions is the ingo-man backplate that you see on the screen there. So whether the dispensers be mounted on a wall, a stand, a bed, a trolley, a table, or any other place you choose, the same backplate is used. The same backplate is used for the manual and touch dispenser. So whether you're switching dispensers from one location to another or switching dispensers directly, the type of dispenser change, or you're simply removing the dispenser to clean it, the process is as simple as pushing the rectangular tab you see on the bottom of the screen there, sliding the dispenser upwards, and replacing the dispenser is place it against the backplate, slide it downward, and wait for the click. So it's a very, very easy system and allows you to install and remove the dispensers very, very easily. It's fixed to the wall with the 3 screw position that you can see on the picture there, and it really does make it as convenient as possible for users to move, to relocate, or clean those products. So moving on to the bracket systems. So bracket systems, robust bracket solutions, yes. So these really provide availability of dispensers at the point of care, which helps us to comply with the highest hygiene standards and the 5 moments that I mentioned earlier. And there are numerous different versions available. And for anybody who's interested, I refer you to our catalogue on the OPHARDT.com website, pages 64 to 69, where all of those are listed and detailed there. You can find out a lot of information about them. They really are universal in that they can mount to vertical or horizontal frames. They can be round frames or rails. They can be mounted on tables. So anywhere you wish to mount a dispenser, we really have a solution that will allow you to mount it there because of the adjustable nature of the bracket designs that we offer. Examples of places where they've been installed are patient beds, trolleys, infusion stands, or incubators. They're available as either perpendicular or parallel mounting solutions. What I mean by that is if you look at the image attached, you'll see the healthcare professional is using that dispenser. It's mounted parallel to the end of the bed. It can also be turned the other way at 90 degrees to that. So again, all mounting solutions are possible, and these bracket systems are compatible with all our ingo-man dispensers and drip trays. So, mentioning drip trays here. So, the function of the drip tray is it prevents disinfectant from dripping off the hands and onto the floor. We have custom pitched drip trays for any and all types of dispensers. They can be wall mounted or they can be hung on the dispenser. They're made from removable plastic and they're dishwasher safe. And one other important point I should mention there is that all our standard plastic drip trays are also flame retardant, which is quite important if they're being used in conjunction with the dispense of disinfectant and so on, where spark or naked flame could cause an issue if the material was not flame retardant. So our stands, again, we mentioned there how after with COVID-19 and the pandemic, how awareness among the general public of hand hygiene has increased, and of course, the availability of that is very, very important, particularly in high trafficked areas, in hospitals, central obviously, really in all public places. And these stands provide an ideal method of making those dispensing systems available to the public. They're made from stainless steel with an anti-fingerprint coating so they don't mark easily. They're compatible with all ingo-man dispenser types. They can be fitted with casters or wheels so that they can be positioned as needed. So again, as when and where they're necessary. And again, there are a number of variations of those stands available. The stands themselves come with accessories as well. So, for example, they can be printed upon. They can come with integrated document holders and other accessories there. And again, those are all available for viewing in our catalogue. Locking plates, a very, very important piece of infrastructure for dispensers, particularly in times of pandemic. So these protect the dispenser or the disinfectant from theft and manipulation. So it actually does both, as I've said. It protects the disinfectant in that the bottle cannot be removed from the dispenser. You still can see, of course, the fill level of the dispenser and any text and instruction that's written on the bottle of it, but it also prevents the dispenser itself from being removed from the backplate. So it provides complete security for both the dispenser and the medium being dispensed. So a couple of other features of the ingo-man. So both our manual and touch dispensers have a facility whereby they can control the door opening. So essentially what that means is that by pressing the lever, the dispenser sends a signal to the control mechanism to allow the door to be opened. So the obvious advantages of that reduces risks of contaminations, very suitable for highly sensitive areas, intensive care units and so on, laboratories, such like. So can be used for, obviously for entry or exit. The connection and setup is quite simple and available with both manual and touchless units. So ingo-man Smart Ready. Joel mentioned earlier about the smart nose. What that really does is it allows the existing manual dispensers to be converted almost instantly, within a period of number of seconds, into smart ready dispensers. The face shield on the front is retrofitted. The old face shield is just removed. It clips off. The new one is installed on that, and it's compatible with the OHMS monitoring system. One unique feature of the smart nose is the integrated feedback LED. And we know from several items published by the Crinkle and so on that feedback is very, very important in user training and in increasing compliance. So there's a green LED on the top of that face shield. Once the dispenser is activated and the required amount of liquid is dispensed, then that LED lights up, indicating the user that they've successfully dispensed the correct amount of liquid. In a sense, they've used the system properly. So to summarize hygiene infrastructure, a universal backplate allows you to switch between dispensers. It allows you to switch from location to location. It's what allows our locking plates to keep both your medium and your dispenser safe later. We have bracket systems to build the perfect infrastructure for hand hygiene when and where you need it. So again, if you're easily able to achieve the 5 moments, we can put the dispenser pretty much anywhere a customer wants to place it. We've got a piece of infrastructure that will allow that to happen. Drip trays, again, we've spoken about the advantages of those to optimize the system, can be wall mounted, can be hung on the dispenser, so flexibility there. Disinfection stands, guarantee hygiene in high traffic areas. Very important now as the public become more and more aware of hand hygiene, and we also need to provide them with a method of disinfecting their hands. Locking plates, we spoke of, prevent theft of both the liquid and the dispenser. For particularly hygiene sensitive areas, door opening systems are available, and monitoring technology to improve and increase compliance is available either as a standard offering on our products or retrofittable in the case of the smart nose. And I'm going to hand over now to Dr. Andreas Glockner, who's going to go into the whole monitoring and compliance sphere in some more detail.
Well, thank you, Porek, and welcome everybody. And the next slides, I will show you some scientific data to the ingo-man series dispenser. But at first, I have to explain the importance of hand hygiene compliance. Improving of hand hygiene compliance is simplest, most effective and economic measure to prevent nosocomial infection and spreading of multi-drug resistant pathogens. Prevention of nosocomial infection and so also sepsis and septic shock too saves lives. Please keep in your mind the mortality rate of septic shock is nearly 50%. That means each second patient dies. And so we have a life-saving mission, breaks the chain of infection. Now we are going in medias res to the data, at first to the touchless version of the ingo-man. A study from Scheitauer and co-workers showed that mounting of touchless dispensers in hospitals can improve consumption of sanitizer per patient day by over 50%. I had the same experience in my clinical practice. We had 30% more consumption with this technology. But the advantage of touchless dispensers are not only the increased hand hygiene compliance, we can also minimize the cross-contamination. You can see on the right-hand side on the picture in the touchless version of the ingo-man in the signal color, this is orange. And we are going to the signal colors. The second topic is it. And one scientific study found that hand hygiene compliance was increased by 6% after using dispensers in these colors. In clinical practice, it is the best way to use eye-catching dispensers to encourage people to disinfect hands. And on the picture, that is ingo-man manual 1 liter in color red that was used in the study. Now we are going on the next topic is point of care solutions. By improving the availability of dispensers at the point of care, for example, at the patient bed, hand hygiene compliance can be increased by up to 25%, as shown in the trial from Bischoff et al. By my experience, the dispenser must mount in the patient bed areas and places of aseptic works in arm range of the healthcare workers to have an optimal option to disinfect hands. The next issue concerns electronic monitoring of hand hygiene. The study by myself on an intermediate care ward at the BDH clinic in Greifswald using ingo-man smart touchless dispensers and OHMS had shown that using electronic monitoring systems can support healthcare facility in achieving increases in hand disinfectant consumption by 30% per patient day, and that leading to a reduction of nosocomial infection in the same dimension. We have also seen a decreasing of antibiotic treatment days by 18%. Here you can see two studies investigate the impact of giving feedback using ingo-man Smart ePro and OHMS. On the left-hand side was the feedback given by trainings weekly, and right by a feedback screen permanently. The results are impressive. In the trial of Scheithauer, you can on the left side, the goal was 3 ml sanitizer per hand hygiene event or per hand disinfection, you can say. In the baseline period, they have shown medium volume of 1.69 milliliter. This is a very big difference to the goal. And then in the intervention period, they have increased it to 1.63 milliliter. And in view of sustainability, you see also that improvement is going on in the post-intervention period. On the right, you see the goal-setting study. The goals for hand hygiene compliance were shown with posters on the wards. And you can see that in the intervention period, you can only see significant improvement in the combination group of goal setting and feedback, and also the sustainability in this group in the post-intervention period. In the goal setting group and also in the feedback group, you have improvements, but it's not significant to the baseline. And now we are coming to our latest innovation in view of smart system, the smart nose. As Porrick had mentioned it, this development based on the study results to feedback showed in the slide before. It is an intelligent face shield for manual ingo-man Plus dispenser. You can the old face shield replace in very short time. Of course, it's compatible with OPHARDT Hygiene monitoring system. And the key feature is the integrated green feedback LED that indicates user the right dispense amount of 3 ml per disinfection. This 3 ml are recommended by the German KRINKO and other European hygiene societies. You can say the smart nose works as a direct or auto intervention to improving compliance. The smart nose is also equipped with a bottle empty alert that secures compliance furthermore, and we provide also an integrated low battery level LED. Yes, at the end I would summarize the diverse possibilities of the ingo-man to improve hand hygiene performance. At first, touchless technology increased dispenser usage and reduce risk of cross-contamination. Second, we provide signal colors to increase attention for hand hygiene. And at third, we optimized availability of dispensers, especially on the point of care. And last but not least, we have smart systems, dispenser, and also the monitoring system OHMS to analyze data, giving feedback, and at the end, improve the hand hygiene behavior.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gluckner and Porig. Just summarizing a little bit what we're talking about here. When we look back, we see some of the biggest pandemics that have occurred in our society. You know, the Black Death in the 14th century actually ended up wiping out more than 60% of the European population at the time. Smallpox killed more than 50 million people. The Spanish flu, somewhere between 50 and 100 million. Obviously, these pandemics were hugely detrimental to our societies. Of course, when we look at COVID-19, the numbers don't appear that they will come anywhere close to that. But considering how globalized we've become, it's astonishing to see the type of damage that a comparably small virus is doing to our economy and in our healthcare institutions. So that's something that we really want to help prevent. We don't know what's coming next after COVID-19, but also we want to prepare for the next wave of COVID-19. We want healthcare institutions to be prepared for that, to have the infrastructure in place for that. But even without another major pandemic, the rise of antibiotic resistance presents a major challenge to healthcare institutions moving forward, with the estimated yearly death total exceeding that of cancer. So we want to make sure that healthcare institutions are prepared for that, prepared for future pandemics, the second wave of COVID-19, and we think that ingoman is the best infection prevention solution on the market to do that. It's flexible, it's robust, and it helps increase compliance. So having said that, we have many other solutions available in the Eurobottle format, or even in cartridge format, if that's a requirement for your sector. That includes the KX and Neptune. The Presidio is also a really great option for a really good-looking Eurobottle system, where design is critical, like public areas. You can check those out on our website, www.ophardt.com. And next month, we have a webinar on the plastic cousin of the ingoman series, the RX series. Really great series as well. It's highly flexible. The RX5T can be placed on a counter, hung on a wall, placed on a stand. We also have 2 manual dispensers in 500 ml and 1000 ml format. The 1000 ml we're just launching in May. And so we're really excited about that series going forward as well. Lots of great advantages, and you can email training@ophardt.com or any other contact at OPHARDT if you'd like to sign up for that. And yeah, with that being said, let's take some questions. I just gotta check the comment section here, dig up some of the questions. Give me 1 second. Okay, so this first question I think is fairly straightforward. I think I'll throw that over to Porig. What liquids are compatible with the standard pumps, Porig?
Okay, so our standard pumps are both our steel and plastic pumps are compatible with a wide range of liquids, so they can dispense disinfectant, soaps, lotions with equal ease. They are made, as I think I mentioned in the presentation, from high quality materials, be it stainless steel or plastic, but we use things like advanced fluoropolymers, high temperature seals, and so on, because a lot of liquids, particularly those introduced quite recently, are quite aggressive, but all our pumps can dispense those without any issue. So unless you are talking about a liquid which is of extreme high viscosity, then the standard pump should be more than capable of dealing with that, be it the plastic or the stainless steel version.
Great. Okay, there's a second question I can throw right at you. How much work is reprocessing the pump?
Okay, so reprocessing the pumps, so we spoke about 2 different types of reprocessing there. The plastic pumps are dishwasher safe, so they will be done in a dishwasher. The steel pumps are autoclavable. Of course, you can also use a dishwasher, and I know there are some industrial type dishwashers which go to higher temperatures, which are ideal for plastic pumps. But either way, the work involves, first of all, removing the pump from the dispenser or the dispensers, bringing it to the autoclave. The length of cycle can vary anywhere, depending on the cycle you choose, between 20 minutes and a couple of hours, depending on the size of the autoclave and the number of pumps in there. Once the pump is removed, it needs to be allowed to cool down before it's inserted back in the dispenser. I should say that before it was even put in the autoclave, it should have been flushed through at a sink with warm water. So yes, there's to do it properly. There's an amount of work there, and definitely it's probably going to take a couple of hours at least by the time you remove the pump until you install it again, if you go down the autoclave route at least.
Okay, great. Yeah, I guess that's a good time to remind as well that that's the reason, of course, that we introduced the DHP and some of the
absolutely
single-use packaging that we have on the market now to avoid some of those challenges. So I guess another question here is goes to you, Dr. Gluckner. I'm asking you how you combine training and smart dispensers in your trial that you mentioned.
Well, Joel, on the basis of ongoing data of the OHMS, we give targeted trainings to the healthcare workers bi-weekly. And it was very impressive to see how the hand hygiene behavior became step by step better. We improved on this way the rate of the right amount of sanitizer, the 3 ml per hand hygiene event recommended by the CRINCO and other European Hygiene societies from 25 to over 50% in 6 months of intervention. This is really very impressive, and I'm very lucky of this.
Thanks. Okay, and one more question we have here, I guess, having seen our waste bins and paper towel dispensers, someone's asking if our dispensers are connected, if those units would also be able to be connected into the system. I'll just answer that really quickly. We also have another software suite called OWMS, which is meant more for washroom monitoring. If a healthcare institution is interested in having their waste bins monitored and their paper towel consumption monitored, we can offer both software suites. One is targeted at cleaning. So, cleaning is also very important in healthcare institutions that can monitor whether they're doing their cleaning properly, whether they're refilling dispensers and paper towel dispensers as frequently. And if there's an institution that's interested in both programs, we can certainly integrate those as well. If you have more questions, again, email us at training@ophart.com or any of our sales or customer care contacts at OPHART. We're happy to answer anything and look forward to seeing you in the next webinar. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.